It's disappointing how they all fold. I've been told that they were gonna stay true. Knew that they were no good when I saw them and saw straight through. My eyes are always glazed and I've been inhaling these paint fumes. I started writing, then I realised I hate you. There's always someone trying to get up in my way. Tell them I just want the paper, I don't even want to play. Got my finger on the trigger and my right hand on the blade. I don't even need to use it, I've got ice inside these veins. If these cunts they try to touch me, I'll be standing there on face. Put a bullet to my head, I'll tell you aim straight for the brain, cause I'm criminally insane. I've been brought up by the game. All these writers try to flex on me, but I don't know their names. I got stuck in it, I think I fell in love with it. The buds I loved it burning and the lines I'm always cutting. And once I got it in me, I could never get enough of it. Nah, I could never get enough. I wanna blow my brain, I feel insane. I'm always trying to take these pills like it's my fucking Novocaine. Got a criminal mindset, thinking what is there to gain. But when I spit shit on the mic, I get to changing up the game. Always burning with my sketches, wanna hit this shit on trains. If it's pills that I'm munching, then I'll lose my mind for days. These cunts had always told me it would only be a phase, while they're bitches now and changing, but I stay true to my ways. But why they speak about me, they are not my people. If I took the fall for them, I know their actions won't be equal. I'm just trying to ease my mind, so I'm smoking this illegal. Keep the money on my mind, cause I do not wanna feel, don't wanna feel, but keep it real. Turning heads without no heels, I'm rocking shocks and popping locks. It ain't ever gonna stop. All these people that are with me now are coming to the top. Said these people that are with me now are coming to the top. One, I still stutter with my speech because of all my past addictions. I keep it to myself because I'm still chasing prescriptions. They all want to live the life, but no, they might end up a victim. You can try and help your brothers out, but they ain't gonna listen. Look into my eyes and you can see that I'm not there no more. So to the cunts that try to scare me, tell them I ain't scared no more. Used to pray for their forgiveness, but I ain't care no more, cause they ain't wanna help me out. They always closed the door on me, always were ignoring me. Nobody could see it, but I watched them all avoiding me. I let them rip a hole in me, but never again. It's only enemies I know, like who the fuck is my friends? Seem that I've been getting distant, cause these cunts ain't trying to listen. I know that you could never put yourself in my position, so I lost myself with bottles. Anything that I was sipping, if it's there I had to have it. I was living in addiction. I got reasons for my anger, it's hard to keep inside. Used to munch the bricks and sip the walk, there's times I should have died, but I've taken all that pain before. He used to like me, screaming, kick me down when I was bleeding. I still fucking hate the feeling, but I'm stronger than I was. I left it all behind and I did it at what cost. Half my friends I have now lost. I don't need them, see a bigger picture, they ain't in the plot. I don't need to be here questioning if they love me or not. But you don't know my story, mate, you've only heard my name. Or you've seen me up cause you know INCA fucking runs the game. Act out with my chest cause I've learned how to take the blame. All these cunts they still respect me cause I've proved that I can make my way. The difference is I'm quiet while you're speaking to the enemy, taking up my energy cause I'm the one you'll never be. Say that I ain't making it, but I've been breaking sweat. You're talking about what you've been handed, at least I have some self-respect. When I'm off the liquor ain't no stopping me. I'm taking all your property like I'm playing Monopoly. Walking down the street, I don't see nobody stopping me. Did it by myself just so I know it's done properly. One, said I did it by myself just so I know it's done properly. One. Yeah, shout out to Discover Hip Hop. Woo!
I guess we'll say we got INCA in the building.
Yeah, what's good,
welcome,
what's good?
But it's a song, Hypocrite. It's about like domestic violence, right? Like, run me through like what that song means to you and yeah.
Yeah, so Hypocrite is a story, my personal story about what I went through the age 13 to 16. And I honestly, in the last week, have been really struggling with this track because I've been thinking it's time for me to stop telling this story. And the reason is I got reached out to by my abuser while I was away. They do keep in contact with me every now and then. When they're blind, they reach out to me. And I know, and in my track, I talk about how others seen it, there's proof and and how, you know, it just like it fucked me up. And he was just telling me that I will say, he just kept saying, I wish the best for you every time I brought up examples of when other people were there and things like that and seeing it. And he just said, you'll say everything you can to have the victim mentality. And, you know, you're just talking shit on me. And then I sat and I thought, and I'm like, you know what, maybe if I just keep bringing it up, it's just going to keep hurting me. But then I'm just like,
I wanted to talk about today. Like, fuck that. Like, fuck that. Never let anyone tell you to, like, that you can't tell your story or that it's not true, because I know it's true. I dropped out of school because of it. I got like heavily more into drugs because of it. I lost lots of friends because of it, and I still can't, even though, like, after I actually released the song, I've had many people reach out to me, some that I don't know, saying how much they relate to it and how much it's helped them. But then I've also had people that knew about what happened to me when I was younger, stayed around the person, like, did nothing, reach out and say, you know what, they feel terrible, that I wasn't crazy, and that apparently he's, like, laid hands on people since then. And the apologies, it was good to hear some recognition, but it felt like nothing to me, because, you know, I was the first one that got my hands laid on me, and I was 13, and then hearing that it's, like, still happening is just, like, fucked. And, like, in the end of the song, I do say something like, I would hurt him too, I just didn't have a clue. I was growing up and changed, never thought about what I'd do, so the blame is split in two. I'm ashamed and I'm confused. I just needed fucking guidance, but I couldn't face the truth, because I actually am ashamed about the situation, because I would get blackout drunk. Like, when I was younger, I was, like, a bad drunk. I did hook him, like, and I will admit it. Like, he says to me, like, you gave me 3 black eyes, but I'm like, cunt, you left me, like, bleeding and bruised and screaming on the ground in front of people, and, like, everyone, like, knew, and it happened on multiple occasions. Like, every time he got drunk, he would, like, spit on me, hold shit up to, like, get me mad so he could hit me, like, choked me in front of people at the races one year, and then we both got kicked out, and then spat on me afterwards, and, like, all this. It just was, like, whole thing. Sometimes
That's fucking crazy.
there's a lot of shit that happened. It went on for ages, and then, yeah, I ended up, like, belting my 2 best mates over one of them, like, hanging out with them. And then I was always planning on leaving high school at, like, year 11, but then halfway through year 10, like, after I'd done all this to my mates and that, I had no one, and I just had to watch everyone still associating with him, and he was older than me. And yeah, I dropped out halfway through year 10, and then I, like, moved to VCAL, and he ended up coming to the same VCAL as me, but, like, in a different thing, and we just didn't speak, and da-da-da. And I'm, like, low-key a bit scared to even, like, be talking about this right now, but, like, fuck you. Yeah. Yeah.
I was about to jump in. I was like, I don't know this guy. I don't know what he's going to... But no, completely, like, for sure. Like, I mean, that's fucked up. That's insane. I was listening to, like, the song, right? And, like, I heard you talk about getting spat on, and I was like, that's fucking crazy. I wondered, because, you know, obviously when you're writing, sometimes you have to, like, whatever to, like, make the song work. But that happened, he would spit on you.
Oh, yeah. Everything in the song is true. That's why, like... Because I don't want... Everything that I write about is true. Like, and I've had mates... I lost a lot of mates, actually, when I started releasing some music, because they say that I don't stand on some of the things that I write about, or that, you know, that it's not true or whatever. And it's just, like, these people also don't know my whole entire life story, and it's also not their business to know.
Yeah.
Like, if people should love and accept me for the person I am now, and, like, if I want to tell them about shit in my past, I will, but I don't think it's relevant, and I don't think it's, like, anyone's place to go and judge and, like, make assumptions on, like, what I'm standing on and what my music's about, because I've been through, like, tens of thousands of, like, the same situation with different people all over again, so they never know exactly, like, who it is or what it is that I'm talking about.
Right.
But with that one track, it is about one person that everyone knows.
Know. Yeah, so I mean, I'm curious what you think about victim mentality, because you spoke about that before, right? Because, like, you know, I feel like obviously you're a victim, but, like, victim mentality, if you hold on to it too much, can actually affect you in a negative way.
Yeah.
Like, what do you sort of think about all that?
Like, I've been doing... Like, I just came back from, like, a 2-week trip to Vietnam, because I wanted to do some, like, self-reflection, because I do that every now and then. And I was thinking about it, I was talking about it with some people, like, about victim mentality, because I didn't really... You don't realise that you're in a victim mentality sometimes. You're just seeing the world. Like, I was very angry growing up, even since I was, like, in primary school. Like, before, I was very angry at, like, everything and everyone, and I felt everything really deeply. So then, like, when shit was happening to me, and then I, like, wasn't being believed, or, like, this and that, I took it all in, and I kept it all in. And then the negative effects from that was I just started, like, acting out. I started, like, abusing drugs and, like, drinking heaps, and, like, like acting out on friends and like being disloyal. Like I was just like, you know, and I'm like, because this happened to me, like this, you know, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like this happened to me. Like, and I just felt like I was just like, I felt like my anger and actions were justifiable because of what had happened to me. But now looking back at it now, I'm like, a victim mentality is like, it's a terrible thing to have. It's good to have awareness that you were a victim, but you can't hold on to it because you'll never let go. And like, I'm still trying to let go of something that happened to me when I was like 13. So that's like, for me, like to sit back and actually think about that, I'm like, fuck, like I'm never going to grow if I like keep thinking like, you got to take accountability for some of the things that you've done too in that victim mentality state. Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
That's like your song Accountability, which I was really like impressed to see, I think. And especially because you said you're 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
When I was 20 years old, I was right in the fucking middle of my victim mentality. Like, it blows me away when I meet people that are like, you know, just like moving on to like, you know, like just doing good shit, like you're doing your label, you're doing Either Way label, you got your clothing brand, you got your music, like you're working, like you're focused, you're like, you know what I mean? Like you're moving forward. It just blows me away to see people do that at like your age and even younger. Like sometimes I meet people that are like 17 that are like doing this shit. I'm like crazy. But yeah, so like how did you like, I guess, identify that you were in that and like how'd you go about like, you know, getting out of that?
Well, probably because like there's a whole range of things that like I went through because I went in and out of a lot of different friendship groups and stuff, and I realized from like a early age, probably around like year 9 and year 8, that I never felt like I fit in anywhere.
Right.
And I think like that caused me to like put myself in heaps of different situations. I don't even know if I'm answering the question properly.
That's all right. That's all right.
But I don't know. Fuck, what was the question?
Just like, how you identified that you were in a victim mentality. Because like you were saying, when you are, like, because you are a victim as well. You know what I mean? Like anyone that's like experiencing anything like that, like, especially like kids in general, teenagers, like we're all victims to some degree, right? So like, in a sense, like up to a certain point, the victim mentality or whatever is kind of like justified, but it gets to a point where you do have to like take control of that and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Well, definitely for me, like going to therapy, like has really helped me. So I've been going to therapy since I was in primary school. And I was seeing a psychiatrist like for a while. But now I've swapped and I'm just seeing a psychologist. She used to be my GP, like, so she's known me since I was in like high school or started primary school. And it's like, it's a bit of a taboo topic, you know, people talking about going to therapy, but I genuinely think like it's been the most beneficial thing for me. Like I used to walk out triggered and angry and crying because like I felt like I wasn't being heard and I felt like I had to repeat traumas again and again and again. But the more that I've gone and the more like open and comfortable I've become with myself, because I'm just honest. That's the thing. Like if you're going to go to therapy, like you got to be honest about what you do. Like I think in life in general, like honesty, like will actually keep you going, like, and keep you respected and understood, because like the more that you lie, the more like that you're lying to yourself as well, and the more you'll believe it.
That's true.
So like, I don't know, learning to like take accountability for me was just like realizing because I'm not good at shaping my thoughts sometimes. I just let it all get up in there. So when I like go and speak to someone that like they'll go like, oh wait, like, and I've got a good psychologist now and she's been really helping me in the past like year, and the medication I'm on as well has also really like helped me. But like they're so, oh, that sounded a bit like, say this again and talk about this, and like we've gone through, like going through my childhood has really helped me as well, on about like getting over victim mentality and things, because like I've always felt like neglected and like a bit of a victim and a bit of, I've never felt heard or seen like throughout my whole life, and like it gets to a point where it's just like, look, you might not be like, it's not, the right people will like see and hear you, and it's just like, I don't know. For me personally, I just got to a point I'm like, I don't think I'm benefiting myself at all by staying like a victim, like by like reaching out to people that I see hanging out with my abusers or rapists and things like that. I'll be like, I'll get nothing from it. I'll just get told I'm like a dumb bitch trying to ruin their life or something. And you know, I'm like, all this is doing is bringing up it again for me. And like the loss of friends and things that it brought up, like that it did for me. So I'm like, I've just learned recently that like I need to stop. Like people are gonna move on with their lives, and like I need to as well. But through my music, that's like a release, and like
Yeah, nice.
yeah, I don't know. See, I ramble, bro.
No, that's right. That's fine. Yeah, don't stress. Honestly, it's just like it's good. Everything you're saying is good, and I think it's important for people to hear as well. You know what I mean? Especially other girls and stuff. But it's hard to let go of shit, man. Like when when you got so much anger as well towards something or someone, like how do you fully let go of that? I mean, I don't know. Like I still am working on that myself. You know what I mean? But definitely moving in that direction is always best for yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it's never like forgetting about it or letting go or forgiving or whatever. You know, forgiving's like a hard one as well. But it's very important, you know. Like I'm not necessarily I don't know where I sit in terms of religion, but one thing I'll say is like forgiveness that they always talk about is so fucking true. Like you have to forgive people.
Yeah.
Not for them, for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if, like you're saying, if you're holding on to it, it's always like affecting you and eating you up. And you're gonna like pass that on through other mediums into other people.
Yeah, 100%.
You're gonna be angry or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because also you have to forgive. What I've learned is you have to forgive your past self. So I'm working on an album at the moment called Me Versus Me, because I've been saying for a long time now I hate Bianca. That's my like real name.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I've kind of taken on INCA like as this persona. I was given a bad reputation from a really young age, and then I just became that person because no one else saw me as anything else, nor did they believe me. And then like I built this person as like a protection, and I think I fucking hate the person that Bianca was for the actions that she made, the decisions or whatever. And for a long time, that's why I say I hate it. But I've learned that you have to love that you hate that. You have to forgive yourself for hate, like, because otherwise you'll never let go of it. And like, so I'm trying to write an album right now that I think most people will be able to relate to, that touches on like the topics of my past self and the mindset I was in and the things I was doing then to where I feel like I am now and where I want to be and the growth of that. But yeah, like with religion-wise, like I've been born and raised as a Buddhist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I just,
wow, okay.
I know, no one knows, but
yeah, wow. Okay. What's that like?
Oh, it's amazing. Like, because both my parents, they met at the institution that I go to called Tara Institute in Brighton. Yeah. And a couple months ago, I took refuge to Buddhism. So that means I'm like a committed Buddhist. I've been trying to take my vows, but there's not many monks around in Melbourne. So I'm going to go to somewhere soon and get it done. Yeah.
Okay. So, like, how does that align with, like, some of the aggression and stuff in your music?
It means that if I want to find like peace, whatever, I'm gonna have to spend a lot of my life saying some mantras and things and working on moving past and like letting go of that version of myself. So my dad, he's he's 63 now, and when he turned 30 he decided he's like, all right, this is about halfway through my life. I'm going to try and work on he's like, I'm going to Buddhist hell. He pretty much just said, like, I'm going to Buddhist hell, like, if that's the thing.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, every day now he says, like, over 2,000 mantras in the morning, and he does, like, he's the most committed, like, Buddhist I've probably ever met. And, like,
that's such a spin out, eh?
Yeah, it's a spin out. Like, it's a spin out. Like, no one really knows that, like, about me, but, like, it's really important to me. Yeah. And, like, so I'm learning, like, I don't know, because I'm not fully there yet. Like, but it's really my goal to like focus on that a bit more. Like, I'm actually a very like spiritual and like calm person. But like when I get to the topics and things that like angered me or hurt me, like I just kind of like flip. But you've got to learn to keep that peace. Yeah, stay calm.
And I feel like, I mean, that's part of like religion, just in general, anyway. Right? Is like obviously there's these not expectations but the guidelines, like we want you to be a good person, but there's always the underlying understanding that no one is that all the time, right? And it's just the battle of like trying to like be that as much as you can.
Yeah, because my favorite thing about Buddhism, it's actually like understanding, like accepting that life is always like suffering. Like you are always going to be suffering and suffering. Like life is kind of continuous suffering. Like I have a tattoo here that says Om Mani Padme Hum, and I practice Tibetan Buddhism. And Om Mani Padme Hum is the mantra of compassion. So like every time I see like a dead animal or someone like die or something, I say Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And then there's another mantra that I say, it's like Om Tare Tu Tare Tare Soha. And honestly, when I think about it right now, I can't really remember, but it's for one of the Taras, the Buddhas that like the green Tara that I love. And I have a tattoo here that represents the one of the compassion, which means it means the jewel in the heart of the lotus, which means accepting like the emptiness in life and things like that. Because like, I don't know, Buddhism is really interesting to me because it's just like accepting that there's darkness and that there's suffering and just learning how to live with it and peace, like learning how to let it go. They say lots of things, be like a plank of wood in anything. And like, that's what my parents always say to me when I'm like going through something. They just say, be like a plank of wood. And I'm like, all right, I'll try. Like,
yeah. It's hard in the moment, but I always try to as well, like try and like use shitty times as an opportunity to like, all right, like whether it's like, whether, you know, I try to look at things like things happen for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Now, whether they do or not, I don't know. But I like to, it helps me to look at it that way because then when something's happening, I'm like, all right, I've been presented with this opportunity. It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But like, what is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to prepare me for? You know what I mean? And I just like look at this as like, all right, like this is happening. Like, let me try and like gain something from this.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%, bro.
But one thing that like always like, because I did read about Buddhism because I was curious about it for a while. And I really liked a lot of it. But one thing that like now that like kind of like I never quite understood was that thing where it's like life is always suffering.
Yeah.
Because it's not always. Like I really enjoy my life now.
Yeah.
You know, and shitty things still happen. But is it more so that like shitty things are always gonna happen?
Yeah, it's more about like there's a proper phrase that I've lost in my head right now, but it's more about like accepting like the endless kind of suffering of life, whether or not it's to do with like your suffering, but it could be like generational, it could be like with how things in the world are going, like because anything can change your like mood or attitude like that, like depends on the person that you are, I guess. And like there's so much going on and like so much negativity everywhere that it's like, I don't know, just being able to accept that there's always going to be that potential of something happening that could cause you to suffer, like it helps you be kind of prepared for it. That's how I like take it at least, because
cool.
like I'm like I've been like used to, I'm ready for the pain. I'm used to the pain since a young age, so like, you know, it's like come at me like so I don't know. Now that I'm 20, I'm like, literally come at me with the pain, because I'm not going to react the way I used to. Like, I'm just going to be like a plank of wood. Come at me in my face and I'm going to say, I'm not 14 anymore. Sorry, love. Like, if you want to fight, like, go and fight someone that actually, like, doesn't care about their life, because I care about mine now. Like, yeah.
That's actually really interesting you say that, you know, because I used to be very angry as well, right? And I used to be very easy to, like, snap.
Yeah.
Like, people could make me snap. Like, if you were a calm, collected person, you could fuck with me very easily. Because you could just, like, say one or two things and I'd fucking lose it. And I'd just go crazy, you know what I mean? And, it's really awesome when you, like, are able to get to a point where you're in control of your emotions and you can, like people, you know, since starting this platform have, like, tried to fight me and shit. Like, people that, like...
me since making music as well, bro. Like, they say they know where I'm at my performances. Do they ever show up? Nah.
That's it, man. Yeah, it's like... But it's just... It's not gonna... You're not gonna make me snap. Like, it's just not gonna happen now. It hasn't happened now for years. It's just not gonna happen. And it's, like, really cool to be in a place where you can, like, be faced with that and handle it in a way that is best for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've always been pretty good at, like, talking, like, not, like, in a bitch way, like, I'm trying to, like, talk myself, like, out of a fight because I'm scared. I just think, what the fuck are we gaining out of violence? Because every fight that I've been in and won, or, like, you know, whatever, it's always had negative repercussions on my life, like, the things, the fallout, like, mentally and, like say had to drop out of school and like hated the way I was, and like the reputation I gained and everything, like it's not worth it. And like I've built so much now, like especially because I work with kids now, like the one thing is I don't want them to see me with bruises on my hands, on my face and like things like that. Like, you know, I try and like they can tell I'm a type of person, like they can make some assumptions about me, but I tell them, you know, like smoking's bad and graffiti on that wall, see, not good, but you can do it in a book. And I'll like teach them little sketches and shit, but I'll be like, you know, fighting's not the answer. I'm like, you know, because I had some close mates recently that I'm no longer mates with, and they used to tell me, like, we'd be talking about something that's getting us, like, riled up or whatever, and they say, oh, I've never actually seen you fight, and they're kind of, like, judging me for the fact that they reckon I couldn't fight, and they reckon that I stayed mates with my best mate because I was scared of her, and I'm like, mate, that's not the case at all. I'm like, I just actually fucking care about my life now, like, because I just think fighting is just it's not the answer. Like, it can feel like the answer, and you can, like, it's, as someone with, like, ADHD, like, like, when you're in a moment, like, where there's lots of violence or, like, verbal disagreements and that, like, it's fun, like you take that on. Like, I personally, like, you know, I get riled up, but, like, lately, like, I just talk, like, they hate it, like, people hated it, but like, I can talk myself out of it and them out of it, because I'm just like, what the fuck is the point in this? I was like, if you really want to go, like, we can, but, you know, your mate, like, constantly trying to fight me for things I haven't done, or, like, whatever, like, just because they see me do good now or something, you know? I don't know. I just think fighting's stupid.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just, it's never worth it, especially now that you do have so many more people carrying knives and shit as well.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it at all.
Yeah, my thoughts is, if they're going to stab me, stab me. Like, I'm just going to stand there and be like, what the fuck did you do that for? Like, use your fist. I don't know, but...
Did you see that video a while ago? I don't know if you watch these videos, but a mate of mine sent it to me. It was in Queensland, and it was these two Islander blokes inside in, like, a shopping mall or whatever, yelling at each other, about to fight, whatever, start storming up to each other. One guy, like, it looked like in the video he threw a hook, but he missed. And then all of a sudden you just see blood just squirting out. No, you just slice his neck open. Guy just falls on his face, dead. That's it. Over, like, whatever it was over, we don't know in the video, but how many times do you see a fight like that break out that's over fucking nothing? Like, nothing of substance, you know what I mean? And then literally someone dies over it, and it's like, in the moment, you know, and maybe that guy that did it, maybe he was only 17 or whatever, maybe he's not thinking properly. Their two lives are ruined now. And everyone that knew that guy that died, their lives have fucking dramatically changed.
Yeah, 100%.
You know? And it's like, not every fight ends that way, but every fight could end that way.
Yeah, and, like, I've seen, like, especially when I was, like, younger and that, like, cunts started carrying knives, like, and things like that real quick. Like, I had a lot of mates, always had them on them, and I had a couple of my mates got, like, stabbed in front of me and shit like that. And it was just like, I was just like, if you don't have, like, the strength to actually just go and use your hands, like, don't pull a knife. But it was just genuinely, like, worrying, because you see them flexing it and, like, they think it's all cool and that. And I'm like, you know, fuck, like, it's just it's not going to end well, like, because, like, you could pull a knife and still end up getting, like wrecked, like, someone did, they pulled a knife from my mate, stabbed them, and then they ended up going to hospital with two massive, like, casts down their arm because they got run down for pulling a knife on our mates. So that's what happens, like, sometimes, you know, like, I don't know, the whole thing with knives and that and, like, weapons, it's like, I'm prepared now, like, for... If I know that, like, I don't want to fight people, but, like, if I was to, it would only be in self-defense. Like, I would have to, like, they're laying their first punch on me. Like, I'm not going in first, like, because I'm not going to let myself down like that because, But if they pull a knife or whatever, like, I might have to find a bottle or something to pick up. Like,
I mean, you got to look after yourself, you know. And if someone pulls a knife, I mean, look, I don't know. I don't want to start encouraging violence, but if someone pulled a knife and a bunch of people beat the shit out of them for it, I wouldn't complain about it. You know
100%, bro. It depends on the situation too, like, always. But, like, no point.
Yeah. But yeah, so, like, where do you think this mentality came from? You know, you were raised in the South. That's another one of your tribes, right? Raised in the South. Is it a part of growing up where you grew up, or?
Yeah, I would say so. So I grew up, like, there was a lot going on with the people that I grew up with. I kind of, from a young age, separated from the people that my family and that were close with, and I kind of found my own group of people that were living a harder lifestyle, like, than I was. But that was, you know, because I had some stuff going on with, like, my family that I just didn't relate to, like, anyone in, like, my family and that. So I got involved in, like, I got in the graph scene or taught about the graph scene when I was, like, about in year 7. Like, I didn't realise all this shit that was going on in my area, and then I was like, oh, fuck, like, got crews here getting knives pulled on the bloke so he could get with me and, like, all this shit. Like, it was just, and then, like, I'm still mates now with like a couple people from the area, and we say like, cause I'm from Port Melbourne, and we say like what happens like there's like a trap, like Port's like a trap, as in like a way like you get like sucked in, and like you can't like never leave. Like you can leave Port, but like you can leave Port, but like you can't. The Port won't leave from you. Like everyone, like when we go to kick-ons now, even like we just start playing slaps, and like we fucking like, you know, we like to fight, and just like, you know, we're just animals, and we just stay up for like days on end, and it's not a good lifestyle. Like I'm trying to like, you know.
We're just animals, we stay up for days on end.
Yeah, pretty much, bro. Like, but like I don't know, because there was just when I was just growing up, there was heaps of violence. Like I was like, there was a couple like guys in that I'd been like touched by, and then I had guys that went to defend me, and then I had like oh, it was just violence like everywhere, and just like I don't know how to even explain the way it was that like I grew up, but like it was just full on, and like I got stuck in like the wrong side of it, but I've made some really good like lifelong mates out of it that have helped me through like a lot of shit, and yeah, now that I've reconnected with some of them, like it's better like than ever, and it's just like it's great. I don't know.
Yeah, nice. So Port Melbourne, is that whereabouts is that? I'm new to the area.
If it's like down from, it's like where St Kilda Beach is. If you go down towards like Williamstown.
Is that towards Frankston, or not that far?
Nah, it's down the other way, so towards like Williamstown. Like if you go.
Is that towards the city?
Yeah, towards the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's no train station or nothing. There's just one tram that gets you into Port, and like that's it, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah. Is that one of the places that Spaniel went to into the hood?
No, he went to South Melbourne, which is close.
Okay.
I expect one day he'll go to Port Melbourne if he even can. I don't know what's going on with that, but
okay. Yeah, wild. Okay, yeah. So, how does that like affect your mentality? I guess you get so accustomed to violence, and maybe I was going to ask you as well, like with the domestic violence before, like I was going to ask you, like, what do you think makes someone feel like that's normal in a relationship, but probably the environment you grew up in, right?
Yeah, like when my dad heard my track Hypocrite, he didn't, my parents never really knew the depth of like what I was going through, because I didn't want to tell them because I was so in love with the person. And like he heard the track, and he's, you know, saying stuff like, oh, he's into choking and like spitting. You're like, where does he like get that from? Like, you know, maybe does that happen in his family? And like, I'm not going to like speak on, you know, their family, but like in general, I think abuse comes from like, I don't know, a state of like control or that you want to have over someone, and then like things that might have happened to you, like just the way that you react to things. And like also drinking, at least in my case, was a really big like problem, because pretty much every time he got drunk is when I would get hurt, and that's why I don't think he even remembers a lot of the stuff that he did, and I think that's why he says that I'm making a lot of stuff up. But there was a lot of his friends around in some of those moments that like there was only one friend of his that actually like said to him once, like, I'm not going to leave, like, I don't feel safe leaving her, like, with you and that, and, like, used to check up on me. And everyone knew what was going on, but did anyone pull him up on it? Like, nah. Like, but I don't know. Me, personally, like, I felt like the abused becomes the abuser, because I got real violent. I became a violent person after that. Not in relationships, but, like, I acted out, like, when I was hanging out on the streets in the city and things like that. And I got labelled as a dangerous person by people that didn't even, like, know me, and called me, like, said I was a brickhead and bricked out of my mind, that it affected my cognitive functions and that, just because I didn't remember them. I'm like, fuck, you weren't people I wanted to remember anyway. Like, you can tell off someone's energy that, like, if you're going to get along with them or not. And, like, yeah. But I don't like any of the things that I did after I left high school. Like, I think my biggest regret is probably leaving high school. I feel like I missed out on a lot of core memories, but I know from what I was going through, like, and not knowing that I was also diagnosed with, like, ADHD and a bit of, like, autism, like, at the time, like, I reckon I could have stayed if I had kept myself, like, out of some circumstances or whatever, but I did the best with what I could. Like, if my parents say, like, if I stayed, I probably, like, wouldn't be here, like, today, like, yeah, because I tried to kill myself, like, multiple times when I was, like, younger. First time was in, like, grade 5. Like, I just feel everything, like, really deeply. So, like, to this day, like I'll think about the friendships I made and lost and stuff while I was in like heavy addiction after the things that had happened to me and stuff, which was like when I was in a kind of big victim mentality like state, and like I just will regret everything, and I'm sorry to everyone that I hurt or mistreated or ignored or anything like while I was in that state. But I also was ignored heavily during that state, like in time.
Yeah. I feel like in that time, like for anyone, like anyone that's like really experiencing depression or, you know, any kind of like really bad sort of mental health response to abuse or whatever, like you're like, you don't have any capacity to think about other people. You know what I mean? Like depression's like a really selfish like state of mind. And it's not to say that, you know, people are choosing to be there or whatever, but you're only thinking about yourself. You're so caught up in all your own drama and bullshit that you're not considering how your actions affect other people or anything like that.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
Yeah, it's bad. What was I going to say? Completely out of fucking mind, bro. Sorry about that.
It's all right. My rambling is run off onto you.
What was that?
My ramblings run off onto you now.
Yeah. No, I was literally going to ask something specific, but I can't even think of what it was. What were you talking about just before?
Well, coming... fuck. I was talking about, just like a sorry and, you know, things that being abused made me become, I think that became like a defense kind of mechanism for me.
That's what I was going to say is like, I feel like a lot of the times, that's what it is. It's like a self-defense mechanism, right? Because anyone, and I can only speak from like a guy's perspective, but I've seen this in a lot of my mates and a lot of people, a lot of guys in general. But you know, you at a young age, like as a guy at a young age, like you're very like vulnerable and weak. Yeah. Which like as a guy, like that's like one of the worst things you can be, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know about girls, but as a guy, like that's like something that all guys I think unanimously hate. Yeah. Right? But like when you're young and you do get abused in one way or another as a guy, like you just feel so fucking weak and pathetic, you know? And so it's like, it becomes like subconsciously it becomes like your whole like thing in life to like, that's never going to happen to me again. Yeah. And the way to really achieve that, especially when you consider that, you know, as humans we overcompensate, like, is to like become the abuser without even realizing. It's like, I'm going to fuck anyone over before they have the chance to fuck me over. Yeah. You know, so I think, at least for guys, a lot of the time that's where it comes from.
Oh, 100%. You know? And I think a lot of girls can also relate to that.
Yeah, right,
like, but I do get what you're saying with guys. Like, it's because, unfortunately, like, men's, like, mental health and men's, you know, everything is kind of overlooked. Like, and I definitely...
Well, is it different for girls or is it the same kind of thing? I don't really know.
Well, I think for girls with mental health issues, I think it's not overlooked, but it's not understood because people don't believe it to be true. Like, people just get called sluts or things like that. And, you know, and like for me, myself, I've been diagnosed with like a couple of things and I don't like to like live by my diagnoses because of the fact that it's been so like romanticized or stigmatized. Like social media is not going to tell you the answers about like what, mental health like is, but like that's where most men and women are also getting their information from. And because I've been going to therapy for so many years, like I don't know, I've learned, so like I'll say it, like I've been diagnosed with ADHD, autism traits, CPTSD and borderline personality disorder, which is like the big one that like people are like, oh no, they're just crazy or whatever. And like I got like the borderline personality disorder from the trauma that I went through in like the relationship. Like, because what I found out is like when you're single, you lose pretty much all of the symptoms of it. And then when you get in a relationship, you get like 80% of them come back and it's like full on. And like I'm in a healthy relationship right now and I'm self-sabotage. Like I find like, you know, I do things that like I don't mean to do. Yeah. And like it's hard to open up to like anyone about it because I'm like, I don't like feel like I'll ever be understood. And that's why I think I just put things into like my music a bit because like whether or not people, because then I don't get feedback. Like people might tell me that they're like liking it or like that they relate, but I'm not getting like you know, they're not like telling me like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't think this is like true or whatever. It's just more like I get to say something without people like saying anything, you know?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Borderline personality disorder is like I feel like at least the people I hang around and stuff don't really see it as being anything too crazy, but it's intense.
It's intense. Like it literally feels like you're like you get physical like pain. Like I was experiencing because of me getting re-triggered and stuff by being reached out to, like in the past like week I've really been going through it, and like today I was worried like to come and do this like interview because I was like I didn't know if I was going to be able to really like speak on anything, like because I've been in a really good state for the past like year I'd say, and these past couple weeks I've just had things like testing me, and I've been feeling like I was physically like sick, like I couldn't eat, like gonna did throw up like multiple times and stuff, and not because I was sick or because I was drinking or anything like that, like genuinely just because of like the anxiety and like everything.
Yeah, right.
So like when one thing happens, every single thing that's ever happened to me like gets brought up, and like all I'm thinking about is like killing myself, and that's like not something I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's an embarrassing thing to say because it doesn't sound real almost, like even like to me, because then I can change right back afterwards after I've had like a moment, like because I don't cry ever really, and then like when I do it's like fucking full on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like that's was happening like in this past week, and I'm just like fuck, bro. Like, and then I got out of it and I'm like, am I insane? Like that's what it feels like. I was just like, what is wrong with me? Kind of like, I don't know. It's a whole cooked thing.
I think that's a weird one, right? Like that feeling of like, I don't know if this is exactly what you mean by that, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like, and you know, I've talked to some of my mates about this, it's a really weird thing that comes over me sometimes. Like, I'm not suicidal. I really enjoy my life. But sometimes, especially on, like, this is a big part of the reason why I don't do drugs anymore, because you're going to come down, like, whatever, you know, but sometimes certain things happen or whatever. Even I've had it happen from weed, where I just fixate, all I can think about is killing myself. And it's like, I don't want to, but I'm worried that I will. If that does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Like, it makes no sense to anyone that doesn't get it, because it's like, what are you talking about? Like my mate's it's just an intrusive thought. Like, no, it's not an intrusive thought. Like, I'm genuinely worried that I'm not going to be able to stop myself.
And
it's
that's it's exactly how I was feeling like the other night. And like, luckily I had a friend with me, and like I ended up just staying with her, and like, you know, we calmed down. It was all good. But like, I was saying this to my partner actually, like about why, and to a couple of my friends, like why I actually make music. Like, what was my drive? Like, is it to become famous or whatever? And like this, it's kind of sad, but it's also not. It's like when I eventually pass, I want people to have something to remember me by, and that's me. Like, I want them to know me, like, through my music. And like, I'm like I'm not prepared to die, but like I'm ready for death, like fucking Biggie Smalls would say or something. Like, I'm like,
well, don't follow in his.
No,
footsteps.
I'm not gonna follow in his footsteps. But like, I've like in the past year, I've had a couple like mini strokes, and I've accidentally overdosed a couple times, and like I'm pretty clean off everything now. Like, I stopped smoking bongs like about 8 months ago now or something, and like then every now and then, you know, I just slip up when I get in a bad mental state, and like just being that close to death so many times has like just made me like, I'm like, fuck, like, you know, shit could happen any day, like, so I just want to like release stuff while I can now, so then people can hear that. I don't know, a bit off topic there, but like,
well, I mean, we should talk about your music. I was going to ask you, like you were saying, like what drives you, like, so what does drive you, which I guess is that like kind of like it's a way of being like immortal in at least a sort of sense, you know what I mean? But so like, what are your goals with music? Like, do you just want to do small shows? Do you want to make it your career? Like, what do you actually want to do with it?
Well, like, I've never really had like a plan for like my future, because I never really saw myself like having one. But regards with like music, I want to keep doing it, but I've realized that like, I don't know for certain, but as I get older, I feel like my music is going to have to change if I'm going to continue it, because like you can take other rappers, for example, like they get older and they're trying to release like the same type of topics, and then it don't really work the same. Like I reckon I still could release music about like my past or my present or whatever, but think it will change like as I evolve. But like I want to keep just working on it. I don't really care for fame. Like that's not what I'm really about. But when I'm up on stage, like it's the best that I feel. Like it's like I get so anxious like before, and then when I'm up there, like seeing people that I don't know like it and that like, and I get really overstimulated. So like afterwards, I tend to like go kind of like a bit nonverbal or a bit like overwhelmed, and I'm like sorry to anyone that thinks I've like been ignoring them after shows or something, but like I genuinely just go like that was like insane, like what the fuck, but. I'd like to do some more bigger shows and continue doing shows. I've got a couple that I'm going to be doing in the next month and two. But yeah, I'm not really planning on getting like I know I'm not gonna get worldwide. Oz rap is a real niche kind of thing. I feel like there's a chance I could, like who knows? Like I don't want to put it out there that that's not happening completely, but like I reckon personally like I've got a solid chance of coming up in the scene that we have now, like as a female artist, because I reckon I've got a lot of things I can share that people will relate to, and I can tell it in a like my type of style is storytelling, like rap. I've had a lot of people try and tell me that I should do things differently or change it. I'm like, fuck that, man. Like it's working already for me, so I'm not gonna do that. Like,
people are always gonna fucking try and tell you what to do, man. So many people try and tell me what to do, and I'm like, oh yeah, where's your fucking platform, bro?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. Like I know I should like advertise it a bit more. Like I don't really like advertise my music. Like I'm still on SoundCloud, but like that's the thing. Like I've got a lot going on in my life as well. So sometimes I feel like I need a break from it all, like from music and everything. But then whenever something's going like real bad, like I just want to keep having music as my outlet. Like that's really what it is. Like because it's I used to love English when I was in school. I was really good at it, and now I can't even speak properly because I got like a lisp from like drug addiction and that. But like poetry always like really like stood out to me. So like just having rap like it's like poetry, and it's like it's just so releasing. So I don't care where I go with it as long as I'm like making an impact for someone and for myself. Then that's like the main goal.
Yeah. If you're like, if you're experiencing some kind of really heavy negative emotion, if you write a song about it and like even just record like a little rough thing on your phone or whatever, that feeling's just fucking lifted away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so incredible, like the power that actually has. You know? And then on top of that, to have someone else resonate with it or to know that you've helped someone else with that is like a whole nother level, right?
Yeah. But I also think something that's not really like talked about much is like the impact it can have on you writing and recording a song that's about something really hard that your friends like have gone through. Like for example, when I recorded Hypocrite, like I just had like a stroke like the day before, and I was in a really bad like mental state. I had red hair, if that makes any correlation to anyone. I was just not okay. And I remember like I felt it was like the feeling for the next couple like days was like really raw. And I don't listen to my tracks that much. Like I actually had to listen to them on the way here just to get like kind of reminded of like what I was writing about, because I've been writing so much more. I've got heaps of unreleased and shit.
Nice.
But I rapped Hypocrite to my mate's worker, NDIS worker the other day, and I got choked up like by it at the end, and I'm like fuck, like because it is a release, like it does once after a while, seeing the impact it can have on others. But like Hypocrite, like for example, every time I perform it, like I actually get more emotional than I thought that I would. And like because I also, that's the song I get the most like feedback on, but it's weird to perform because it's like not really like a hype one, and you just watch everyone kind of like go down, but they're just standing there like and I'm like fuck, like how do I lift the spirits after this one? But like I don't know, it's I don't know.
But that's cool that you can have that control over a crowd, to be honest. Like especially so early on in like performing and doing stuff. I think that's good. If you're still like maintaining that retention during a slower, more quiet song, people aren't walking away and going to the bar, I think that's good.
I think it's like it makes me feel good too, because I'm like, like it depends on also the mood I'm in. Like sometimes I'll perform it with a bit more passion and that, but like it's good when I've been performing at a couple of things like where I've been the youngest like artist, or I've been like the only kind of Oz rapper amongst other like female artists and things like that, or like one of the only ones, and like it's really daunting because like you see the whole crowd there and you're like, you know, they're not necessarily there for your type of like music. But what I found is like thank fuck, like a lot of people tend to stay once they actually hear what I have to say. Like I'll walk up and I'm gonna be nervous as fuck, like, but then once I actually start spitting it, like I just see people deep in the lyrics, and that's like what I want, like, because I'm not a big like performer, because I'm just telling a story. Maybe one day I will be if I could keep it up, you know, do more shows and that. Like you build confidence as you go, but like being able to hold people there, it's like it's the best feeling, because like when you walk off you're like, yeah, I did that and people actually listened, like
yeah. And I think as well, like, you know, there's definitely, I feel like, an expectation of how you should perform. I feel like there is, like, obviously I'm not a performer, but just from my observation and like people I talk to, I feel like there's an expectation of like, especially, you know, hip hop show, whatever, people are expecting you to make people like, you know, the energy and all that. But you can do shows like however you want. You're an artist, you know what I mean? You can do whatever the fuck you want. If you get to a point where people are coming to see you and they enjoy the experience, it doesn't matter if it's a hype experience or fuck, you could be sitting down on a chair like doing spoken poetry basically. But if people are enjoying it, then people are enjoying it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I've been told I'm like I've got good stage presence by like a couple of people. I've been told I'm like the female Slim Shady, and I'm I was like, I think it's just because I wear like baggy clothes and I'm blonde, but like I'll take that, because I do a bit of like I'll stare you in the eyes and but like it's fun, like, because the first show I did, like I didn't have any music released at all, so, and I full had my phone up, like reading notes a bit with just like beats in the background, and then like since then, like, you know, I've got more shit recorded, and like you just, each show you go to, like you build more like confidence in how you do it, and like I think it was by my third like show or something, like I got more like confidence, and my sixth show ever I got to open for Wombat, so I was just like, this is insane.
I spoke to you literally before you went there.
And like cool. Literally right before I went, I was like on the way, and I'm sitting there doing a little interview. And
that interview is literally out on the YouTube right now. You can go check it out.
And on the Instagram snippet, he posts the most part of me rambling like a silly cunt. Like, bro, go watch the actual YouTube video.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So do you have any advice for, let's say, a few different things? Like, if there's some girls that are, around like 13, 14, whatever, maybe they're like in that place that you were at that time. Do you have any advice for them? Keeping in mind, like, most 13-year-olds aren't going to fucking listen to what you got to say.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Well, keeping in mind that I know you're not going to listen, because I remember how much I was told and directioned by a lot of people, young people, adults, teachers, friends. You don't listen to anyone when you, because 13, 14, I feel like is the age where you start, especially as a chick, where you're like, here, I have some freedom now, or I want freedom. And you start acting out and you start doing things that ultimately are going to lead to you having a bit of trauma, depending on the lifestyle that you choose to go. I know some people that done so well with themselves, and we grew up in a similar situation. So it's like, but literally just be careful of who's around you. Trust your gut, and don't try and impress people like by doing shit you're not comfortable with doing, because then you will actually end up getting comfortable doing these things. And then it just becomes like everyday lifestyle. And don't think what is your everyday mindset and lifestyle is like, don't think all of the suffering that you're going through is going to stay. Like, know that sometimes it is self-inflicted. Like, I was smoking bongs every day from 14 to for 5 years, like straight every day. And I thought the way that I was feeling was just natural, and then it was like that. And then like when I got off them, after a while I realized like how I felt, and like the lack of energy and motivation I had for life and for doing productive things. It was all self-inflicted. And also there's a bunch of other situations and scenarios where like you are actually inflicting this onto yourself, and it's a hard thing to face and to realize that you're doing. And I know it also sucks as a 13 or 14-year-old losing friends, because I know how much, as a chick at least, friendship matters. Like, friendship mattered to me so much at that time, and I will never forget the friends that I had at that age. And I wish all of them the best, and I wish that we were closer still, but you know, you drift from people. So just learn to stay within yourself and be there for yourself, because like I was there for too many people that weren't there for me in the end, and now they come back and like say that they're sorry years later, and it doesn't feel the same. Like, be there for yourself, trust in yourself, and don't get so influenced by people. Like, just, yeah. And I know you will,
Yeah.
but just take care of yourself after these things happen. Try to remove yourself from the people that are bringing you down and keeping you in that state, because I stayed around people for way too long that kept me in a place, and then worse things happened to me. And take it from someone that just turned 20 this year. Like, and like I've got a whole new outlook on life. Like, it will change. It does get better. It's not going to be like instant, but like whatever you're going through, you're going to get through it. And if you need someone to talk to, INCA's always got a inbox open, you know? So, yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. That's really cool, I think, because you are still, like you said, you're 20, you know, you're only a few years ahead of any of these people. And like a lot of the people you're saying, like, look up to you and follow your stuff and all that. And I think it's probably valuable for them to have a good role model. Because I feel like, I don't know about you, but like for me, I feel like at that age, it's like friends were so important to me.
Yeah.
Because that's who I had.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly the same with me. Yeah.
So it's like your friends are like everything, and you really look up to your friends. You know, even like someone that's 3 years older than you, look up to them like that's who you have to be in life. And sometimes, like most of the time, at least in my case, I mean, these people are just me, but 3 years older. Like we don't know what the fuck. You know, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. So the people I was looking up to were pretty shitty people, you know?
Yeah, and they didn't know what they were like. They knew what they were doing, but like they're not trying to, like.
It's no malice or anything.
Yeah.
They're fucked up themselves, you know? So for you to be just a few years older, but be the person that's a positive role model, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Any advice for people, again, whatever age, but they're like, maybe they've been rapping a long time, because it took you a long time to actually get up on stage, you know?
Yeah.
Why was that? But then after you answer that, like any advice for people that are in that place?
I think it just took me a while to get up on stage, because I'm like a chick and I'm like Aussie rap. I'm like, fuck, like, you know, I was always told by people and that I was good, and like I'm a perfectionist, like bad. That's why I've got a lot of unreleased stuff, like, so I want to like fix it up like proper. But it just took me a while to get up there, because I just wasn't in the right headspace. Like, I was just busy doing other shit. I didn't really like care for anything, and like just getting Verka, shout out to Torment One Verka, to get me up on an open mic at Ripe Hip Hop. Also shout out Ripe Hip Hop. That really got like getting into it. Also, like a big part of that was the community that I met like instantly and like made friends with, like, because that just kept me motivated to keep going, because I'm seeing how other people are going with it, and like that I'm like, oh, this is something possible. So like my advice, like anyone that's been rapping and like wants to release music, 1, fuck the hate, because you're gonna get it. 2, you're probably gonna lose a lot of mates over it, because either they're gonna be jealous, they're gonna want to get some of the things that you've worked hard for, like just like friends, connections, like things like that. Like, people will use you to get to where you've been, like to where you've gotten to, like without doing anything other than like be your mate. And just have the confidence to be yourself with your music, because like you don't have to be in a certain style. There is music out there that there's music for everyone. Everyone likes every type. Like, even me myself, I actually have some plans to go a bit more versatile, like with my music. I want to go and like explore a range of things, and that's okay to do that. Like, you don't have to like stay stuck as like this. You don't have to give yourself this reputation like straight off and think that you got to stick with it. If you don't like what you're doing, switch it up, try something new, and just keep practicing, like keep doing it. Like
dope. I would say as well, like the friends that you're going to lose in that process are people that you don't want in your life anyway. You know, you really start to realize who actually wants the best for you.
Yeah.
Because the people that want the best for you will be happy that you're doing something you enjoy.
Yeah.
The people that keep you around because of what you provide their emotions and them, and it's entirely a selfish reason, they're the ones that are going to get jealous, angry, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, so fuck those people.
Fuck those people, and shout out to the ones that are actually real, because they've come to every single one of my shows, the small ones, the big ones. They're always right up the front cheering. They're always like crying afterwards, telling me how they're proud. The other mates that fucked off. They used to come just to like see my set and then talk about how bored they are, and gap and go somewhere else to kick on. And which is fair. Everyone has their own like things, but it's clear to see like who is in your life for a purpose and who's not. Like the second I like admitted to people I don't really care for social media anymore. Like I don't really like. People started kind of like dropping off from me. I'm like, oh, did you just want to kick it with me like because of the kind of following that I had or whatever?
Okay,
So
yeah,
that's also another thing. Like if you're gonna get into like rapping or anything social media, just be careful of who you let close to you, because like they will use shit against you that you've told them. Like
no, that is true. I will say that is definitely, especially in the rap scene. Like it's unfortunate, but at least my own personal rule that I've set for myself is like pretty much everyone I meet through music is like that's where the relationship stays.
Yeah, it's like an associate.
Yeah, it's kind of
business is business.
Yeah. And like you can still be like friends with them, I guess, but it's a different kind of friendship. Like I've got my friends outside of music, and they're my best mates, and but they couldn't give a fuck about rap. Like you know what I mean? Like
precisely, yeah.
Yeah, and like but everyone at least so far that I've met through hip hop is like you just keep it there.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get fucked over.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
because people, they try to eat off your plate, like, and it's the whole thing. It's like, I don't have enough food to give y'all. Like,
and even if I did, fuck you, bro.
Yeah, exactly,
I went and got this food myself. I mean, go get your own, bro. It's like the world we live in, you know? Yeah, that's it, But yeah, I mean, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a really good conversation.
Yeah, thank you for letting me ramble.
No worries.
It's been mad.
Good. Like I always say, like there's nothing worse than a guest that you get on and they say 3 or 4 word answers to your questions.
I'll never do that, bro. I'll never do that.
Yeah, no, it's so much better. And people tune in because they want to know more about you. So you rambling is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Right. Is there any upcoming shows, songs, shout outs, anything at all?
All right. Shout outs first all to Wax One Ronks, because he was the first person to ever produce my music and get me out there, and he's just a legend. And shout out to Ripe Hip Hop. Shout out to Cosmic Bounce Records, my new producer KV8. Shout out to everyone that's come down to my events, my Either Way label ones. Shout out to you for having me on the little podcast.
Appreciate it.
Shout out to everyone watching and learning a bit more about me. I promise you there's fucking heaps to my story, so if you ever want to chat about anything, I'm sure I can open up to you a bit. I'm a bit of an open book at this point. And fucking shout out to my mum and dad, because I put them through hell and now they're my biggest supporters. So fucking, yeah. That's all. That's all.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Much love. Peace.
Bro, cheers, bro.
That was good. Yeah, that was great, man.